We began airing on a rotating basis with Cheyenne. But unlike Cheyenne, my character, Tom Brewster, well, he wasn't exactly the toughest guy in town. I mean, I'd go into the local saloon and order a sarsaparilla with a dash of cherry. That grated on a lot of nerves.
You call me a pig, that isn't very sociable.
I'm gonna kill you, boy. Just watch me.
Throughout the Old West rode the outlaw hordes. During the 50s and 60s, they spread terror and fear all over the land. They had names like Butch, Blackie, and Lefty. They rode in gangs or sometimes alone. They were rustlers, con men, and bank robbers, and no one was safe from their menace. Help was needed fast. Who could clean up the town? Who could save the ranch? Who could stand up to these bad men? To get the job done, it would take a special kind of hero.
Bat Masterson. Sugarfoot. Afghan will travel. Cisco Kid.
Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp.
Oakley. The Roy Rogers Show. Buffalo Bill Jr.
Jim Bowie, Jim Bowie.
Crackdown. Hawkeye. Chingachgook. Last of the Mohican. Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police with Yukon King. Maverick. Lawman. Out of the blue of the western sky comes Sky King.
They say that Yancy Derringer had ruffles at his wrists.
TV's Western heroes.
Sugarfoot was the tumbleweed. A shotgun along with the heart cold.
Howdy, folks. I'm Will Hutchins. You might remember me as TV's Sugarfoot. Of course, you all know I didn't ride alone out there on the television prairie. The majority of programs produced in the 50s and early 60s were Westerns. And we're going to highlight over 40 of them for you today, right here on this show. Now, at first, the Western was considered kid stuff. But as television grew, so did the Western, and the plots became more adult. Some of the shows mixed in liberal doses of humor and comedy along with all that action. And there were enough gimmicks to fill up a whole stable, the whole corral. Now, the heroes of these TV Westerns, they used everything in hand. They used their six guns, they used whips, they used knives, they used tomahawks. Some of them even had their own private trains and airplanes in a long-standing, never-ending battle against the bad guys in their black hats. Well, this made for great TV, and that's what this show is all about, TV's Western heroes. Oh, by the way, the dates I'm going to be giving you are when these programs first aired on television. Some of these shows were seen again in syndication and in reruns. It all started back in 1949, when an Indian found a Texas Ranger who had been injured in an ambush.
Me not hurt you.
The long-running radio series, The Lone Ranger, became the first Western made exclusively for television. It ran from 1949 through 1957.
You Kemosabe. Kemosabe?
Chicago-born actor Clayton Moore originated the role of the daring and resourceful masked man for television. And Canadian-born Jay Silverheels, the son of a Mohawk chief, co-starred as Tonto.
You're Tonto.
That's right, me Tonto. Now me take care of you. Here hat, me wash in stream, dry in sun, make whiter.
Thanks, Tonto.
Here, gun to kill bad men.
I'm not going to do any killing.
You will not defend yourself?
Oh, I'll shoot if I have to. But I'll shoot to wound, not to kill.
You all alone now. Last man. You are Lone Ranger.
Yes, Tonto. I am a Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger, presented by Tootsie Roll, America's favorite candy.
Again, your all-time Western favorite flashes across your ABC screens with action, thrill, and adventure.
Only one other actor became the Lone Ranger on television. John Hart became the Masked Man for 52 episodes from 1951 to 1953 because of a salary dispute Clayton Moore had with the producers. Moore returned in 1954 to rejoin Jay Silverheels, and both stayed with the series until 1957.
Be sure to watch The Lone Ranger. Hail Silver! Away!
In true tradition, in the creation of unforgettable, legendary folk heroes, from the Old West emerges Hopalong Cassidy.
Hopalong Cassidy, played by William Boyd, was on TV almost from the beginning. As early as 1945, Hopalong Cassidy feature films, originally produced from 1935 through the 40s, were seen on local television. In 1948, Boyd became the first cowboy actor to host a regular TV series, which used edited versions of his earlier films. Along with his horse Topper, Hoppy was joined by memorable comic sidekicks, including Gabby Hayes and Andy Clyde. Later, a new series, exclusively made for television, was produced and aired from 1952 through 1954. For the new TV series, Edgar Buchanan appeared as sidekick Red Connors. Hopalong Cassidy also created TV's first merchandising boom. Why, you could get lunch boxes, dolls, bicycles, even potato chips, all with Hoppy's happy endorsement. Not only did the merchandise boom make William Boyd a very wealthy cowpoke and TV's first cult hero, it demonstrated the power and popularity of the Western on television.
With heart-stirring drama and sensational horsemanship, all marking the courageous adventures of the king of the legendary cowboys, the greatest hero of the Western screen. Hopalong Cassidy. Don't miss this exciting event when Hopalong Cassidy rides again.
In 1953, another cowboy recycled his feature films into a television series. Lash LaRue's 15-minute program, Lash of the West, opened with LaRue as a modern-day marshal, recounting stories of his famous bullwhip-toting grandfather. Unlike the Lone Ranger and Hoppy, Lash of the West didn't spare the violence. In fact, they promoted it.
Daring robberies, rustling, reckless gun duels, range wars, wanton murder, and violence of every kind. But close on the spurred heels of the swaggering outlaw comes Flash LaRue, riding in again with another action-packed saga of the bygone West.
Cali Road, stop crying. I'll come back to you some sunny day.
Taking his popularity from over 80 films to television was Gene Autry, America's singing cowboy.
Every hour a year while I'm away.
Autry's Flying A Productions produced the series, and Gene and his horse Champion, along with sidekick Pat Buttram, rode the TV range from 1950 to 1956. Welcome to the Gene Autry Western Heritage Museum. Let's take a look, shall we? Hey, there's Annie Oakley. I wanted to see her show once, but I didn't have a ticket. There's Richard Boone. I hear he was a long-lost relative of Daniel. Jim Arness's hat almost as big as he is. Lauren Green, the deepest, greatest voice since Orson Welles. There's fellas from the Ponderosa. I remember when they shot their last show, they went around the set singing, "Yes, we have no bonanza." Gee, that's a great duded-up outfit. I guess that's Dale Robertson. Doesn't quite look like him, but that's his outfit, all right. Probably his saddle, too. He's a real cowboy. Got a ranch in Oklahoma. Oh, there's the dandy himself. Yep, old Bat Masterson. There's Hugh O'Brien's vest and the holsters for his buntline special. That looks like Steve McQueen over there, but it isn't. It's the sheriff of Cochise or somebody. I used to love that Wanted Dead or Alive. There's some of that Hoppy merchandise I was talking about. And looks like one of Arthur Godfrey's ukuleles, but I guess it isn't. Oh, this is all has to do with the singing cowboy himself, Roy Rogers. My wife used to love Roy Rogers. She's a little girl. She wrote him a letter and asked if he'd adopt her. All he sent her was an 8x10 glossy autograph. Oh, well, that's showbiz.
Post, the cereals you like the most, and Jell-O Instant Puddings, the new busy day dessert, bring you Roy Rogers, king of the cowboys. Trigger is Golden Palomino, and Dale Evans, queen of the West, with Pat Brady, their comical sidekick, and Roy's wonder dog, Bullet.
Roy Rogers was the king of the cowboys. He was actually born in Cincinnati as Leonard Sly. He was also known as Dick Weston, the Texas Troubadour. He later joined the singing group Sons of the Pioneers and soon changed his name to Roy Rogers. Rogers saw the possibilities of television and in 1951 quit his film career at Republic Pictures to produce his own TV show. The series ran from 51 through 57, and almost 2 million children joined the Roy Rogers fan club.
All right, put him up. Rogers, you fool, you played right into his hand.
In all good Westerns, there had to be a comic sidekick. Well, Roy actually had two. One was Pat Brady, and the other was a trick-bucking Jeep named Nellie Bell. The duo's antics were on a par with many a real-life comedy team. Roy's horse Trigger was billed as the smartest horse in the movies. Well, he became even smarter and more famous on television.
How about coming up on stage, sir, Roy, please? I don't think I had the pleasure of meeting Trigger.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trigger. Meet Senor Perry.
Yeah, he ain't very friendly, is he?
Well, to make friends, Perry, you have to offer a lump of sugar.
Oh.
Well, not me, the horse.
Although the Cisco Kid made his TV debut in 1950, Cisco first appeared in a story by O. Henry in 1904. The Kid made many film appearances before the talented actor Duncan Rinaldo took over the movie role. He then became TV Cisco through 1956. The Cisco Kid was a Mexican adventurer, a Robin Hood type character who roamed the Southwest righting wrongs and helping the poor. Along the way, Cisco's friend Pancho, played by Leo Carrillo, added comic relief and helped Cisco get out of trouble. Diablo and Loco were Cisco and Pancho's horses. Although Rinaldo was in his 50s and Carrillo was in his 70s when the show began, both actors did many of their own stunts. All 156 episodes were filmed in color.
Put on his necktie, Joe.
You got anything to say, Terry? Any last words?
Nothing to you, Tracy. I wouldn't give you that much satisfaction.
Okay, Lou.
That's just a warning.
Drop your guns, all of you.
Now get down off your horses. Do it, or I kill you dead. We are taking the prisoner with us. And when there is a judge in town and he has selected a jury of calm men, we'll return him, eh, Pancho?
You say it, Cisco. I do it.
You go ahead of us. I would advise you, gentlemen, not to get any foolish ideas. Get over there. Call your men and tell them to drop their guns when I can see them. Hurry! Joe, move! All of you! Come out in the open. Throw down your guns. Hurry up! You want to get me killed? Now get your men and get out. And don't come back for your guns. They won't be here. Move!
Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play.
And who could be more at home on the range than the Range Rider?
Jock Mahoney donned buckskins and jumped on a horse named Rawhide to become TV's Range Rider, based loosely on a magazine character of the 1940s. The syndicated series produced by Gene Autry's Flying A Productions had its original run from 1951 through 1954.
Dick West, All-American Boy.
This rough-and-tumble action show took place in California during the 1860s. The Range Rider was not a lawman, but he followed a personal code of honor and justice.
You can't come in here and carry on that way. It's a disrespectful place of business. And you...
What do you want to talk about?
This!
32-year-old 6'4" Mahoney delighted in doing all of his own daredevil stunts and fight scenes. He was a former stuntman who had doubled for Randolph Scott and Gregory Peck. Mahoney's stunts soon became legendary around Hollywood. It seemed there wasn't anything this guy wouldn't jump off of or climb on too.
Hey, look.
As a result of his reputation, Jock Mahoney in 1962 became the movie's 13th Tarzan. The Range Rider's sidekick was played by Dick Jones, who later went on to star in his own TV series, Buffalo Bill Jr., which we'll see in a little while. Old Jocko, as his pals called him, later starred as Yancy Derringer, which ran from 1958 through 1959. Set in New Orleans after the Civil War, Derringer was an ex-card sharp now working as a special agent. Joining Yancy was his Indian aide Pahu, played by ex-Brands.
My name is Derringer. Made a reservation for 3?
Oh, yes, Mr. Derringer, if you'd register, please.
You?
I have it right here. We've reserved a very nice suite for you with a view of the Capitol.
Thank you.
And the third member of your party?
I'll register for him.
Pehu Ketewa.
Pahu Katiwa. Wolf who stands in water.
You mean this Indian? I'm sorry, Mr. Derringer, but that's quite impossible.
Afraid I don't understand.
Well, the fact is we do not accept reservations for savages at the National Hotel.
And if I were you, George, I'd refuse lodgings to the kind of squaw man that runs around with them.
In 1955, Dick Jones, who had appeared on The Range Rider, returned for one season as a star of Buffalo Bill Jr., another Gene Autry-produced series. The action took place in Texas during the 1890s and featured Jones as an orphan who, along with his sister Calamity, played by Nancy Gilbert, were adopted by Judge Ben Wiley. During the series, young Bill came up against the likes of Geronimo, Billy the Kid, and outlaws of every kind. Dick Jones was an accomplished rider and stuntman, and the series made ample use of his great athletic abilities.
Popcorn, America's home popping package, presents Annie Oakley.
In 1953, Annie Oakley became the first female Western hero on television. Gail Davis starred as Annie in 81 action-packed episodes. Yep, another Gene Autry-produced show. It took place in the 1880s in the town of Diablo. Co-starring with Davis were Brad Johnson as Deputy Sheriff Lofty Craig and Jimmy Hawkins, who played Annie's young brother, Tag.
He said that they asked direction to the Fourth Side Ranch.
Nice work, Tag. This'll outfit your baseball team for the next 2 years. You wait right here for us.
Okay, sis.
Gertie's smarter than I thought. He's keeping one step ahead of us.
My brother is right. Gertie moved fast. He is bad medicine. Like plague.
I think you've got the answer, Cook.
Well, I guess you could call Hawkeye and the Last of the Mohicans an Eastern Western. It was based on the classic novel by James Fenimore Cooper. The series was shot in Canada from 1956 through 1957. Many actors wanted to play the role of Hawkeye, but finally John Hart, who had played the Lone Ranger on television, was cast as the lead. Veteran actor Lon Chaney Jr., known for his work in horror films, was chosen to play the Mohican chief, Chingachgook. The unusual pairing of Chaney and Hart gave the show a unique flavor.
You're gonna have a fever, your face will break out, you'll be moaning, groaning, you'll look awful. Well, not yet. Come on.
Hawkeye! Come back. Help me, my red brothers! Help me!
Get back! The Black Plague!
Come back here, you little cowards! Stand back. He's full of the plague fever. He can't hear you.
Plague or no plague, you're still my prisoners.
That may be a matter of opinion, Gertie, seeing as how your courageous Senecas have deserted you.
You forget I still got a whole tribe out by Mirror Lake.
If I know anything about Senecas, when they get word of the plague, they'll take off and won't stop till they're the other side of the Alleghenies.
Well, there have been a lot of famous brothers, but none have been as popular as those Maverick boys. From 1957 through 1962, this lovable band of rogues and card sharps turned the TV West upside down. From Natchez to New Orleans, they lived on Jackson, Queens. You know the rest. And it all started with the senior Maverick brother, Brett, played by James Garner.
Well, that just shows you can't keep a good thing from the public. Now, suppose you and I get into a fight. You see, there are lots of ways to outdraw someone. Go get a gun. I'll just sit down here with a deck of cards. Don't insult me. Here, take a card. High card shoots first. What is it? I had an ace. Of course, you didn't have a thing to worry about. I'm a lousy shot.
Sure as shooting. Everyone shouting the praises of Maverick. Tuning in to share the fun, the action, the romance.
During the first season, Jack Kelly joined the show as brother Bart Maverick and stayed with the show throughout its entire run.
Topsy-turvy with our own special brand of hilarious larceny.
I can't talk upside down.
You can't talk right side up, but you're gonna talk even if it's inside out.
There's Jim Garner as Brett Maverick, Jack Kelly as Bart Maverick. And you can bet wherever a Maverick might wander, there's bound to be big-time gambling, beautiful girls, and blazing guns. Sure as shooting, everybody's rooting for Maverick.
Oh, Brother Bart, you'll have to excuse me right now. I have some business to take care of.
That's just about the same business I was thinking of. I'll tell you what, seeing we both have the same interests, let's cut the cards.
We were just fooling. As you know, there's only one Queen of Hearts. But the Mavericks on Sunday nights have plenty of them. Seriously.
Yes, very seriously. If you like action, suspense, romance, and comedy, tune into Maverick on Sunday night on ABC. Brother Brett, shall we start again?
In 1960, James Garner walked off the series after a heated contract dispute with Warner Brothers, who produced the show. Jack Kelly took over as the lone Maverick brother.
With guns and fists, and best of all, with laughs.
Would you give me your name?
Maverick. With one ick. Yep, it's that ramblin', gamblin' man, Bart Maverick. Always up to new tricks.
Toward the end of the 1960 season, the producers were feeling the loss of James Garner, so they invented another brother, Brent, played by actor Robert Colbert, who just happened to look a lot like James Garner. But the character only appeared in 2 episodes and was dropped from the series.
Fast and loose.
In the final season, Jack Kelly was the only remaining Maverick to film new episodes. But he was reunited with James Garner's brother Brett, as half the season was filled with old reruns. It could happen only in Hollywood.
Hey, where's the fire? Right in those big brown eyes of Bull Maverick. Because those wild women of the American West really kindled the spark for this dashing cousin of those Maverick rascals. Played for excitement, laughs, and romance by handsome Roger Moore in Maverick.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Maverick is the name.
Oh, I almost forgot. That same season before all that stuff was going on with Brent, another Maverick showed up. It was cousin Beauregard Maverick, played by Roger Moore. Beau was a Texan who had fought in the Civil War and then went to live in England. He picked up some culture and was now returning to America. Well, it was a good enough story to cover Moore's pronounced British accent. You TV viewers may also remember him in Ivanhoe and the Alaskans. Later, Moore didn't have to cover his accent when he became Bond, James Bond.
Every week on ABC TV.
In 1958, Dave Garroway's program Wide Wide World presented a special salute to the Westerns from Gene Autry's famed Melody Ranch. Look real close. That street probably looks familiar. That's because along with Autry's own company, Flying A Productions, Melody Ranch was used by many TV Western series as a shooting location.
We're mostly shooting television out here with such shows as Wyatt Earp, Gunsmoke, and many, many others, including Annie Oakley. And say, by the way, there's Miss Gail Davis now, who plays the part of Annie Oakley, and she's with Jim Garner and Jack Kelly.
Hi, Gene.
Hi, fellas.
Hi, Gene.
Hey, Annie, aren't you on the wrong end of that rifle range?
Well, no, not really, Gene. Actually, I'm holding this target for Jim.
I see.
You know, he's going to shoot right through the hole in this plate and then break the little white disc that's behind it. You ready,
Right.
Jim?
Are you
Do that, Brother Brad?
Well,
I'm going to add to the fun a little bit, and I think toss a blindfold on you.
All right.
Fun for who?
Well, don't worry, Gail. He's pretty good at this shot.
Oh, now, Jack, come on.
All right, Brother Bart.
Oh.
When I count 5. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
4. Oh, that's wonderful.
Mighty fine shooting there, Jim. And Annie Oakley, you better stick to your laurels.
Well, this is Dave Garroway in New York for a moment. Is there a safe explanation for that trick, too?
Well, yes, Dave. I'm not actually that good a shot. I'm not bad, but it's safe as long as I have Rod Redwing standing behind me with live ammunition while I'm firing blanks.
Rod's an expert, I know, on the fast draw and on trick target shooting. High Noons, Duel in the Sun, The Outlaw, Shane, Gunfight at OK Corral. Some of the pictures he was gun coach on.
On the board here is a knife with the sharp edge of the blade forward.
Rod Redwing was also a fast draw expert and helped many Western TV stars to develop their skills. Watch him as he performs this incredible trick shot. As a knife splits a bullet in half to hit 2 targets at the same time. Ha ha! Impossible!
He did it. See, that's almost impossible. I don't see how you do it, but you do it. Do you handle a 6-shooter like that, too?
Yes, I do, Dave. Now, this is a Frontier single-action pistol. Single action means that the hammer must be pulled back before the gun can be fired. Now, to do that in the holster, the thumb forces the hammer back. At the same time, the 3 fingers, the little finger, the ring finger, and the middle finger, press the grip against the palm of the hand. The trigger finger is straight. As the gun clears the holster and moves out towards the target, the trigger finger slips into the trigger bowl, the thumb slips off of the hammer, and the gun is fired. Now, Dave, I'm going to show you a fast draw that I taught Glenn Ford, which he does so beautifully. Shoulders squared, arms relaxed.
Ooh. How long does that take, Rod?
That was 0.2 of a second, Dave.
Another fellow who was pretty darn handy with a gun was Kilo Henderson. From 1957 to 1959, he played Arizona Ranger Clint Travis in the series 26 Men. Kilo's boss in the series was Captain Tom Reining, played by Tris Coffin. Kilo was actually born and raised on a ranch in Colorado and was an expert marksman and trick gun artist. He also taught many Western stars how to use their guns, including Sugarfoot. That's me, folks. Now, the reason the show was called 26 Men is that's how many men the Arizona Territory could afford to pay.
You ain't shooting anybody. These guns have hair triggers. The slightest jar will set them off. Now for the other one.
This is a story of 26 men enforcing law within the territory.
Seal Test presents another exciting episode in the life of Bat Masterson, starring Gene Barry. Brought to you by Seal Test.
Reliving Bat Masterson's life can be pretty rugged work. When I'm looking for a cool, natural refresher during the day, I make it a glass of Seal Test chocolate drink.
I'm gonna give you just 3 seconds. Then I'm gonna cut you down.
Here's veteran actor John Agar about to be given a little help from Bat.
Uno, dos, tres.
I saw it. He drew on you first, but you got him with the scattergun. Folks, it looks like we're finally going to get some law and order around here.
Now here's one of the most famous good guys. The life and legend of Wyatt Earp blazed across TV screens from 55 to 61. Hugh O'Brien played the legendary Marshal. Earp kept the peace in towns like Dodge City and Tombstone with the help of a longtime companion, an extra-long Colt 45 buntline special.
By 1878, the fame of Wyatt Earp had spread throughout the land. Today, 80 years later, he's still the best in the West, as Hugh O'Brien recreates the life and legend of Wyatt Earp.
Hi. Always active in charity work, he established the Hugh O'Brien Youth Foundation in 1958.
Wyatt Earp, who drew his gun reluctantly, but when he did it far better than any other man alive.
I'm delighted to say I think he'll live, Marshal.
Wyatt Earp, the man, women find as unpredictable as the men who fear him. For brawling, battling excitement, see Wyatt Earp tangle with Tombstone, the toughest town of all.
Earp, his friend Bat Masterson, and all the notorious outlaws of their time live again to recreate the ruthless, bullet-spattered struggle to establish peace and order in the lawless West. Every week on ABC.
Well, it didn't take the sponsors long to realize that the Western stars had the popularity to sell almost anything. We've already seen old Bat Masterson sell chocolate milk. No telling what I could have done with sugar. Well, here's Hugh O'Brien again with other Western stars pitching. A whole lot more than hay.
Hi, folks. I'm Hugh O'Brien. Hope you liked our show tonight, brought to you by General Mills. The makers of Cheerios, the only famous oat cereal that's ready to eat. And Gold Medal, America's favorite flour for better baking. We'll see you next week for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Gleam.
Say, I wish you'd look in on the Gabby Hayes show Sunday on most of these NBC stations. I've been showing you a lot of things on the television area. How about you showing me something? You, Joni, out there in Coopersville, Michigan, show me what you had for breakfast this morning, will you? Huh? Cereal bowl, eh? Well, that's all right, Joni, but shucks, ain't nothing in the cereal bowl. Come on now, show me what you had in that bowl this morning. Milk and fruit, huh? Well, you're getting warm, but you know, Joni, that banana's gonna be awful lonesome in that bowl. That is, unless you have some of its very best friend in there with it. Oh, come on, Joni. Show me what you had for breakfast this morning. That's a ticket. That's what I wanted to see, and that's what I want to see you young'uns have for breakfast in the morning. Quaker puffed wheat, shot from guns. You're darn tootin'. Yes, sirree, Bob.
Say, have you kids ever tried Hostess snowballs? Well, I think they're pretty terrific myself. Just take a look at these. You see, every snowball has loads of chewy coconut sprinkled on top and fluffy marshmallow underneath the coconut. On the inside is delicious chocolatey devil's food cake. And in the center is the smoothest cream filling you've ever had in your life. Gee, they're great for afternoon snacks. Or try Hostess snowballs with ice cream or fruit. And you know, kids, Hostess snowballs come 2 in a package. 2 big ones.
Calamity and I were out in the Badlands, helping to look for strays, and we got lost in strange country.
I could tell Bill was lost, and it was getting dark.
We wanted to go north, so I pulled out my Robin Hood compass bullet. Yes, sir, kids? Here's a bullet that, instead of hurting someone, could save your life. Now, this isn't a real shooting bullet, because inside there's a tiny compass. It's Robin Hood's compass bullet, and it sure came in handy.
And the best part about it is that you can get one just like it, free.
Sure. Just ask for it at your Robin Hood shoe man's. Now, have Mom take you down.
And remember, look for the picture of Robin Hood inside the shoe.
And be sure to ask for your free Robin Hood compass bullet.
Cisco, you want to hear my Weber's Red rhyme? Sure, Pancho. For a better breakfast, a better day, start each morning the Weber's way.
Right. With plenty of hot buttered Weber's toast. And with Weber's bread for breakfast, you get good, quick food energy for a head start, too.
And remember, amigos, start your day our way.
With good Weber's bread. My bread.
Hey, kids, how do you like my quick shooter hat? I know you'll like this, too. It's Nestle's Quick, greatest tasting, fastest drinking chocolatey milk.
Say, Quick's even better for you now because Nestle's have added vitamin C, vitamin D, and iron.
Aim for Nestle's Quick.
How would you like to become a real marksman? Well, it's easy and fun if you practice with this Lone Ranger rapid-fire revolver. See? 6 shots without reloading. And here's a tip good marksmen know. Always bring your gun down on the target and squeeze the trigger gently. Remember, play safe and never aim at another person. Always at the target.
Boys and girls, get your exciting Lone Ranger rapid-fire revolver from Cheerios, the wonderful tasting cereal made from oats.
If one lone Texas Ranger was successful, think of what we could do with 30 of them. Well, that's probably what Screen Gems must have figured when they produced Tales of the Texas Rangers from 55 to 57.
These are tales of Texas Rangers, a band of sturdy men.
Although there were actually 30 Rangers, the 2 main stars of the program were Willard Parker, who played Ranger Jace Pearson, and Harry Lauder, who played Ranger Clay Morgan. Like many other Western shows, Tales of the Texas Rangers was first heard on radio with Joel McCrea playing the lead role. A really unique aspect of the show was its time span. Although the characters remained the same, different episodes took place at different times in the history of the Texas Rangers. A while back, we saw some commercials using Western stars. Now, most of the time, those commercials were only broadcast within their respective programs. But the Tootsie Roll commercial that was produced for Tales of the Texas Rangers became so successful, it actually continued to run years after the program went off the air.
This Tootsie Roll brings to mind one of the most daring holdups ever staged in the West. One day, a stranger walked into town, 3 feet 4 inches of the toughest hombre north of the Rio Grande. It was a Tootsie Roll Kid. He loved chocolatey, chewy Tootsie Rolls better than anything, and he was aiming to get some. Daisy Bell was piling the counter with Tootsie Rolls. The kid really went for him. He sure loved midgies. Bite-sized Tootsie Roll in a cellophane bag. Just then, there was a holdup. Then a Texas Ranger came to the rescue. He bought some Tootsie Rolls and divided them between Daisy Bell and the kid. Kept a couple for himself, too. And as the sun set in the west, the kid promised he'd always go straight. Straight to any candy counter and always buy Tootsie Rolls.
Jim Bowie, he was a bold adventuring man. Jim Bowie, battled for right with a powerful hand.
Joining the roster of TV shows based on real historical figures was The Adventures of Jim Bowie, starring South African-born Scott Forbes. The series ran from 1956 to 1958.
Oh, it is indeed a stupendous collection you have here, Monsieur Beretti.
But none so choice as this.
During the show's run, Bowie encountered other notables like Sam Houston and Andrew Jackson. He even ran against Davy Crockett for Congress.
My gun is loaded.
Mine is loaded, too. So what is your pleasure, sir? I don't suppose these pistols have been fired in over a century. I tested mine. It shoots quite straight. Did you test yours?
Monsieur Beretti! Monsieur Beretti! The press! 2 men!
Ah, then it wasn't loaded.
But this is...
According to the legend, Jim Bowie broke his regular knife in a fight with a grizzly bear, inspiring him to invent the famous Bowie knife.
Will you be putting those back? I mean, put them back. Come on, you two will be thieves to the day you die.
Oh, do you not want evidence against the counterfeiters?
Empty your pockets. Come on, look at you here.
Jimmy, but we found the morning machine!
Never mind. Hurry up. We gotta get out of here. Oh, here they come. Hold the door, Pat.
Oh, it's locked!
Down. Starring Robert Culp.
Well, it seemed the public just couldn't get enough of those Texas Rangers, so along came Robert Culp as Ranger Hobie Gilman in Trackdown. The series ran from 1957 through 1959. Unlike other shows about these legendary lawmen, this show actually had the official approval of the state of Texas and the Texas Rangers. Robert Culp went on to become one of television's most enduring actors, and he is finally remembered as a co-star, along with Bill Cosby, of the I Spy series. I guess all that early saddle time finally paid off.
No closer.
Where's the doctor?
I want to talk to you.
Rand said I'd say.
If you want a doctor, let me check inside.
All right. Make it quick.
A ranger!
Miss Hayslip?
Please, can you get them to let the children go?
Shut up!
It's your fault. You did this to Davy.
Cease. Cease. Now, you had your look. Now, go get that doctor.
Gun, yeoman. Get over there.
Remember, Trackdown was brought to you by your neighborhood mobile man. For good advice, prompt service, quality products, you're miles ahead with mobile.
We're running you and your Confederates out of this town, and you'll not be able to stall us off with your idea of sending for a Mountie.
They've already been sent for, gentlemen.
Sergeant Preston.
Word came to our headquarters about trouble and wounded moose. I suppose we all sit down quietly and discuss the matter.
From 1955 through 1958, Sergeant Preston of the Yukon, played by Richard Simmons, patrolled the frozen reaches of the Canadian frontier. But this brave Northwest Mounted policeman wasn't all alone. No, he had his famous dog, Yukon King, and his horse, Rex, to help him always get his man. Up until now, we've seen westerns, southern westerns, even eastern westerns. But I guess we'd have to call this one a northern western.
How do we stand?
They're here, 4 of them.
And one more to come. It's probably the leader who doesn't participate in the raids.
What are we going to do?
Well, capture the leader before he enters the cabin. He's the key man. Meanwhile, I'm going to ask you to enter the cabin wearing this hood. It's important we get as much information as possible for a trial. They may disclose other crimes they've committed. King and I shall wait right outside the door in case anything goes wrong. I realize there's a risk involved, Luke. And if you don't feel like...
Say no more, Sergeant. I told you I wanted to prove myself. This is the chance.
Good. Here.
Where have you been? Anyone follow you? I hope you're right. We've no time to lose. We'll divide after the chief gets here. That Mountie's after us.
What's that? Let's get out of here. Stay where you are. A spy. Let's get in.
On your feet, all of you. And pull those hoods off. Put your hands up over your heads. I arrest you all in the name of the Crown for robbery and murder.
Sergeant, where's Sparks?
He's handcuffed to a tree outside. You did a good job, Luke. Let's tend to their wounds and tie these fellows up. We'll pack up that gold and take it back to town. King, this case is closed.
That's Lee Duncan, famous owner and trainer of the most talented dog in the movies and TV, Rin Tin Tin.
If you think Yukon King was a smart dog, how about Rin Tin Tin? He was a star of the adventures of Rin Tin Tin, running from 54 through 59. But old Rinty deserved top billing. He had been a movie star since 1923. The real Rin Tin Tin died in 1932, but his heroic spirit lived on in the 3 German shepherds used in the TV series.
Sure to join Rin Tin Tin, Rusty, and Lieutenant Rip Masters again next week.
You know, that dog had his work cut out for him. He had to protect those brave cavalrymen of Fort Apache in the Arizona Territory, including his young master Rusty, played by Lee Aker, Lieutenant Rip Masters, played by James Brown, Sergeant Biff O'Hara, played by Joe Sawyer, and Corporal Boone, played by Rand Brooks. The fort was actually the refurbished movie set from John Ford's classic film, Fort Apache.
Fire! Kid, here's your chance to own an authentic action model of a fighting Blue Devils rifle, just like the ones you see on our show. And it's not only a rifle, it's a terrific ballpoint pen, too. Pull the trigger, and the hidden ballpoint pen shoots out. Then ready, aim, right for your Rin Tin Tin rifle pen. Get Nabisco's shredded wheat today.
Look for Rinny and Me, or terrific special offers in this circle on every box of Nabisco. The original shredded wheat.
Nabisco, the original shredded wheat, has brought you the adventures of Rin Tin Tin.
Cover me and stick the gun in my ribs. Sorry, Jim. Hello.
I'm showing my deputy, Johnny McKay, some of the fundamentals of becoming a lawman.
I've got a lot to learn. But Marshal Troop here is a good teacher. And we tangle with some exciting situations in our town of Laramie, like this.
They say that justice is blind. But out on the frontier, lawmen have to keep their eyes open to stop the lawless from running wild.
Now here's a couple of no-nonsense guys, Marshal Dan Troop and Deputy Johnny McKay, played by John Russell and Peter Brown. Now these guys were serious, and if you did the crime, you were going to do the time. Actress Peggy Castle joined the show in its second season as Lily Merrill. After all, somebody had to loosen those guys up. Lawman patrolled Laramie from 1958 through 1962.
In this fast-moving show that's a standout for action entertainment.
They call me the Stone Face, but I wasn't born that way. That badge stamped my face.
The lawman's creed. Draw quick or die. But it took more than a fast gun to make a lawman great. And Sheriff Dan Troop of Laramie had that quality that set him apart. The strength and purpose that has made Lawman one of the most powerful series on TV today.
Finish your bottle, Cates. Then I'll advise you to cry for your dead boy. Tears might help.
John Russell as Dan Troop, and Peter Brown as Deputy Johnny McKay, the boy he trained to fight by his side. You'll see them ride far off the beaten path to bring you unusual stories with strong characterization.
He's a lawman, Ma.
Go on. Get on your horse and count yourself lucky.
I haven't seen the inside of that cabin.
Try it. Surprising dramatic situations and suspense.
I don't suppose I walked into a town yet where I didn't have to lick somebody who thought he was real tough. And you're him.
I'm not cut out to be a lawman.
You were complaining yesterday.
Marshal, I got bad blood in me.
I don't want to draw with you, Lacey.
You don't have to tell me that, Marshal. It sticks out all over you. Now, I'm gonna have to kill you one way or the other. So you might as well draw.
Johnny and I'll look for you every week on the ABC television network where we appear in Lawman.
Oh, we're heading into some mighty entertaining territory ourselves Friday nights this fall. And we'd be mighty glad to have you start your weekend viewing with us and our neighbors.
When Rawhide, which ran until 1966, made its debut in 1959, the lead of the show was Eric Fleming, playing trail boss Gil Favor. For comic relief, Paul Brinegar played Wishbone the cook. And oh yes, there was this other young feller who played Ramrod Rowdy Yates. What was that guy's name? Westwood or Northwoods or Eastwood or something?
If it's a showdown you're looking for, I tell you right now, you got it.
We talked it over, and it's you or us, right?
Right. When I count three, we start.
Right.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
A television set. It's a play? A show? A television show?
It's Stump the Stars.
Here's a rare clip of the cast of Rawhide in full costume paying a visit to the game show Stump the Stars.
Woo, Eric came with gun. That's a frightening thing to begin with. All right, the Eric I'm speaking of on the show, he plays sort of the boss man, as it were, so I think I'll introduce him first. Let him introduce the rest of the cast. Ladies and gentlemen, the very fine Mr. Eric Fleming.
Eric, you can rest of them to sit down as Eric introduces you, okay?
All right. Here's the little lady who always saves us on the fast draw contest, Ruta Lee. My good buddy, Clint Eastwood, who plays Roddy. And you all know Wishbone, Paul Brinegar.
All right, here we go with the Rawhide group. Clint Eastwood, will you step up, please? Clint Eastwood. Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. Clint, how are you? Clint plays Roddy Yates, as you well know, on the Rawhide show, but a surprise, he's got a record coming out. What label is it on?
That's on Cameo Parkway, Mike.
And you
It'll
do
be
some
out in
singing,
about
huh?
3 weeks, yeah.
All right, all of you Clint Eastwood fans, here's your chance to hear him. I'm going to hear it myself, Clint. Here's a sent-in, it's number 4, suggested by Mrs. John Bethman from Pine Lawn, Missouri. There you are. Wait for the bell. Good luck, short and sweet.
For Clint Eastwood, a rowdy punchline. Hand your teeth to me, Grandma. I'm putting the bite on a friend.
Punchline.
And
You.
And your
Teeth.
Hand your teeth
To me.
Hand your teeth to me.
Hand your teeth to me.
Grandma.
Grandma.
Grandma. Grandma.
Hand your teeth to me, Grandma.
Them.
I'm putting the.
I'm putting the.
Bite on you.
Bite on you.
Bite.
I'm putting the bite on
a friend.
The bite on.
Very good. Very good.
It's a good week's ride from Sedalia to Dodge City. Just one day takes you along the entertainment trail from Gil Favor's trail mates to the Saturday night roundup. And from where we stand, it looks like it's going to be a trip that's going to be mighty worth your while in the months ahead.
When Marshal Matt Dillon, played by James Arness, strode out on that Dodge City street for the first time in 1955, Gunsmoke ran for an incredible 20 consecutive years. But it was not an instant hit. Its first year was shaky. By the second year, the show jumped to number 8 in the ratings and remained in the top 10 for most of its run. Only 2 cast members stayed with the show for its entire run, James Arness and Milburn Stone. Burt Reynolds appeared as Quint Asper from 1962 to 1965. In 1964, Dennis Weaver left the show, and actor Ken Curtis became Marshal Dillon's sidekick, Festus. Over the years, many guest stars appeared on the show, including Betty Davis, Charles Bronson, John Voight, and Nick Nolte. But when all was said and done, the continuing appeal of the show rested with Matt Dillon and his fellow townfolks. Like any successful show, Western or otherwise, you've got to like the people. And for 20 years, we got to know and like a dedicated marshal and the citizens he protected. In 1958, James Arness also appeared on Dave Garroway's Western edition of Wide, Wide World.
Hold it, Marshal. Don't shoot. Dave Garroway in New York here. How are you?
Welcome to Dodge City.
Thank you. I suppose you've walked these streets so often that you sometimes wonder what life must have been like if there was a real Matt Dillon, huh?
Well, Dave, I tell you, I have the feeling that the life of a peace officer on the frontier, such as Matt Dillon represents, was a pretty difficult job, and one that certainly was far from glamorous. For one thing, there were very few written laws that he could go by, and there was no law enforcement body for him to fall back on. So consequently, when the going got tough, he often found himself very much alone. And at those times, he just simply had to rely on what he believed and hope that he was right.
Jim, Gunsmoke has often been described as an adult Western. How do you account for that?
Well, Dave, I'd like to pass that question along to a man who's a little better qualified to answer it than I am, Mr. Norman McDonald, the producer of our show. Norm, did you hear the question?
Yes, I heard the question, Jim, and that phrase, adult westerns, come back to haunt me. It was John Meston, our writer, who used that in connection with Gunsmoke some 6 years ago. It was our way of saying that we wanted to do a show and avoid the bad cliches of westerns, the fight at the water hole, the phony chase, the gun fanner. Jim here wears just one gun because he figures if a man can't get the job done with 5 bullets, he shouldn't wear a gun at all. Our actors on Gunsmoke do a lot of their own heavy work. They do their own falls, their own riding. As a matter of fact, they do a lot of their own fighting. Jim here has worked out a scene. Well, it'll show you how it goes. Now, over there is Bob Morgan, a Hollywood stuntman, and this is what happened.
You know, James Arness almost didn't become Matt Dillon. The producers originally offered the role to John Wayne, but Wayne declined, then suggested James Arness, who was under contract to Wayne's production company, Batjack. In fact, Wayne also filmed an introduction to the show's first episode. So if there's anyone in this world James Arness has to be indebted to, it has to be John Wayne. Hey, Jim, isn't that the Duke over there?
Hey, Duke. Don't you know you brought me up to do my own fight? Jim and John and Bob, time's up. And thank you very much.
Well, I reckon there's no need to spell out the meaning of this little item. The business card of that elegant gent from San Francisco that spells out action over quite a stretch of territory.
From 57 to 63, Richard Boone played one of the Western's most unusual characters, the black-clad paladin, and Have Gun Will Travel.
I said it once, Paladin. Seems a long time ago. I don't want to kill you.
You could give up your gun. You could let them hang you.
Oriental actor Cam Tong played Carlton Hotel employee Hey Boy.
You know, Mr. Paladin's profession is not how you say 9 to 5. Between jobs, however, he occupies his time with subdue those stimulating games such as chess, poker, and blackjack. Highly inferior to mahjong. Mr. Paladin proves Wild West has artistic pursuits.
Paladin, a West Point graduate and man of culture, was also a hired gun. Based in San Francisco, he would await telegrams asking for his help. Then off he'd go. For a fee, of course.
Your participation, his pleasure.
Paladin's trademarks were his business card and a holster with a white chestnut on it. But we never found out what Paladin's first name was.
The size of your palm, as lethal as a scorpion, is Milady the Derringer. This is Paladin. Have Gun Will Travel.
Every trail he rides leads to adventure. Clint Walker as Cheyenne Bodie. He thrives on danger.
Cheyenne, which ran from 55 to 63, was first seen as part of a 3-show rotating series called Warner Brothers Presents.
Every road he travels leads to excitement.
Could be an ambush.
You couldn't ignore a guy like 6'5" Clint Walker, who had actually been a deputy sheriff in real life.
Every man he meets learns quickly whether he's friend or foe.
Nope, I'm glad I was his friend. You know, that Clint wasn't afraid of anybody. He even got into a fight with Warner Brothers and left the show. But tempers cooled down, and Clint came back and ultimately starred in 107 episodes of Cheyenne.
I'm coming in for him.
Nobody's taken my prisoner.
The Cheyenne Show, a full hour of spine-tingling action-adventure on ABC TV.
Out where the West begins, their adventure begins with The Cheyenne Show, starring Will Hutchins as Sugarfoot.
Now here's a show I know a little something about.
A peaceful band, schooled in handling trouble wherever it happens.
We began airing on a rotating basis with Cheyenne. But unlike Cheyenne, my character, Tom Brewster, well, he wasn't exactly the toughest guy in town. Now, Sugarfoot was kind of a different kind of a cowboy. He was an itinerant cowboy who wandered all around the Old West, studying to be a lawyer by way of mail. And sometimes he'd go into kind of a tough frontier town, and rub some of the local hombres the wrong way. I mean, I'd go into the local saloon and order a sarsaparilla with a dash of cherry. That grated on a lot of nerves.
You call me a pig, that isn't very sociable. I'm gonna kill you, boy. Just watch me.
Yes, folks, Sugarfoot didn't look for trouble. Trouble looked for him. I made 69 sugar feet from 1957 to 1961.
That's the funniest thing I ever saw in my life.
You're not laughing. I didn't like to resort to violence, but if violence came my way, I had to stand up for myself. The local hombres, they dubbed me Sugarfoot. See, a Sugarfoot is a feller who's trying to work his way up to being a tenderfoot. So I tried to keep out of trouble. I wasn't looking for trouble. I mean, I only had one suit of clothes. I didn't want to get hurt. But I rode into town, and I had the law books in one saddlebag and my gun on the other saddlebag. And if the law books didn't work, then I had to resort to the old pistola. Now, this show was produced by Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers had one of the biggest collection of classic Western movies you'd ever want to see. They made them in the 30s and the 40s and the early 50s. They were magnificent movies. Now, the brothers Warner got a good idea. They said, why can't we just insert some of these great action scenes from these Westerns into Sugarfoot, make it look like a much more expensive production? Actually, they were kind of cheap, if you want to know the truth. But it was sure fun. But the only thing is, I had to wear the same clothes that the actors wore in the original Western movies. One time, I actually got to wear Errol Flynn's hat. That was a lot of fun. And I remember wearing Walter Brennan's belt and and ran off Scott's vest, on and on and on. This brings to mind one of my favorite Sugarfoot episodes, the return of the Canary Kid. Now, the big thrill for me in this show was Colt was played by my good friend Wade Preston, a former park ranger and rodeo bronc rider. Anyway, back to the plot.
Some more questions. Go on. Go on.
Tom to the tree.
Why did you help me, Prudence?
Some questions that only Brewster can answer.
I don't think you're gonna get...
They call him Bronco because he's hard to handle. It's rugged Ty Harden in the hour-long adventures of Bronco Lane, brought to you on ABC TV.
Now I want to tell you about my old compadre Ty Harden, who played Bronco Lane from '58 to '62. It all started when Clint Walker left the Cheyenne show. Warner's created a new character for that time slot, Bronco Lane, played by Ty Harden.
Yes, Bronco's the show.
Well, old Ty did such a great job that after Clint returned, the bigwigs decided to let the character of Bronco continue with his own show. Although Ty was born in New York City, he grew up in Texas, and he could really ride those horses and handle a gun.
Figure he's a mite faster on the draw on you.
Maybe someday we'll find out.
No time like now.
You know, mister, I just might oblige you.
So right along with Bronco all the way on ABC TV. This is the Rebel. He's young, and though he lived in a different time, his problems are much the same as kids are today.
Oh, there's different kinds of wars. There's wars that don't end just because a white flag goes up. Somebody signs a piece of paper. There's wars that go on inside.
From 1959 through 1962, Nick Adams was the Rebel. And it was perfect casting, it seems. Adams' own intense and highly individual personality matched that of the show's lead character, Johnny Yuma, an ex-Confederate soldier wandering the post-Civil War frontier.
Push? Why, Reb, you ought to be used to being pushed.
The Rebel, starring television's most exciting new star, Nick Adams as Johnny Yuma, the kid who fights alone and writes the truth as he sees it. A teenager who rebelled against authority and those who misused it.
You go for that gun and I'll make you eat it.
As Westerns tackled more adult themes, advertisers began changing, and cigarettes became major sponsors of Westerns. They also asked the stars to sell their products.
Every week on ABC TV.
Hi, Nick Adams. You light up your cigarette? I'll light up mine. Yours isn't an L&M. Bet your mine tastes better. Why don't you try it?
That's Dale Robertson, star of Tales of Wells Fargo.
Good looking, good tasting, good smoking pell-mell. That's my cigarette.
My name's Steve McQueen.
You know, sometimes bounty hunters had to push people around. When it comes to choosing a cigarette, don't anybody push you around. You think things out. Now, I'm smoking a Viceroy. It's got a thinking man's filter and a smoking man's taste.
Well, that's a track-down story for tonight, folks. Look in again next week, and remember, for a light smoke, light up a Lucky, the best-tasting cigarette you ever smoked.
You know, they said this couldn't be done. The perfect combination. Less tars and more taste. This is for me.
Me too.
More taste from L&M, the best you'll ever find. Less tars and more taste.
And remember, it's the perfect combination for modern smoking. Live modern. Change to L&M. You're really living when you do.
Know why I smoke Viceroy? I figure when a fella can get the real thing, why bother with imitations? Now, this Viceroy filter is the one all the others tried to imitate, but couldn't. A thinking man's filter. Most advanced filter of its kind ever developed. And Viceroy sure has the taste I want. Today, millions of smokers can read the facts about filter cigarettes. I did. My choice, Viceroy.
Meet Rory Calhoun as the Texan.
By 1958, TV Westerns had become so popular they were attracting big-name movie stars. Rory Calhoun made his TV series debut in The Texan, which ran from 58 through 60. Calhoun played Bill Longley, a famed gunslinger who actually existed. Unfortunately, the real Longley was hanged in 1878.
A man who fights to help those who need it and smash those who deserve it. Yes, the adventures of the Texan as he roams the West give ABC TV one of its most exciting dramatic series. Be sure to follow the Texan.
The drama of the Big Valley explodes each week.
The Big Valley was a big hit, running from 65 through 69. This sprawling series featured Barbara Stanwyck and a high-powered all-star cast.
Barbara Stanwyck as Victoria, Linda Evans as unpredictable Audrey.
I want to know who it is you're protecting.
I can't tell you.
The strong-willed Barclay Men, Richard Long as Jared, Peter Breck as Nick, Lee Majors as Heath.
That's enough. Oh, no, I've just started.
A proud family, sometimes in conflict, held together by one woman.
This family stands together. Now, you fought your way in here, and by heaven, you're going to have to fight your way out, because no matter what you do, no matter what you call yourself, you'll still be a Barclay.
The Big Valley, a bold story of a big land, every Monday in color on ABC.
You gonna run me out of town, Marshal?
What I said was clean out of the territory.
One of the biggest celebrities to appear in a TV Western series was Henry Fonda, who starred in The Deputy from 1959 through 1961. Fonda wasn't the deputy. He played Marshal Simon Fry. Although Marshal Fry was handy with a gun, he was reluctant to use it, as in this scene where he stares down a pre-Dallas Jim Davis.
Trace Phelan backed down to you, Marshal. He backed down.
That disappoint you?
Nobody can say I like to see blood spilled.
I warned you not to cross me. Drop your gun below and I got you covered. You drop yours.
The deputy in The Deputy was played by Alan Case. Unlike Marshal Fry, Deputy McCord was fast on the draw and always ready for action.
Stand right there.
Take care of him, Sarge. You did a brave thing, Tommy. I want to thank you for helping me catch that outlaw.
Sky King flew over the television airwaves for 72 episodes starting in 1951. Instead of a trusty horse, Skylar Sky King, played by Kirby Grant, went after the bad guys in his own twin-engine Cessna, Songbird. Sky lived on the Flying Crown Ranch along with his young niece and nephew, Penny and Clipper, played by Gloria Winters and Ron Haggerty. Like many other programs, Sky King had its roots in radio, where it began in 1946. Always community-minded, Kirby Grant operated the Sky King Youth Ranch for homeless teenagers. Grant had also been a flight instructor during the Second World War, and on many occasions flew himself from his home in Illinois to Hollywood to film episodes of Sky King.
I think that rifle of yours will furnish us all the answers we need, if you'll trust me with it. Sheriff, do you have that slug I gave you?
Yes, got it.
This rifle was made long before any of us were born. It's a breech loader, smooth bore. But that slug I dug out of Charlie's car has the marks of a modern rifle on it. Could I see Sven's rifle again, please?
Sure. But we'll need a ballistics report before we can accuse anyone of this guy.
Hold it right there, Sven. Sometimes a man accuses himself by running.
Now will you listen to me? What's the matter with all you? You gone crazy?
The Wagon Train not only rolled west from 1957 through 1965, it also rolled up big ratings. Veteran actor Ward Bond played Wagon Master Major Seth Adams, and Robert Horton starred as Scout Flint McCullough. Wagon Train was a big-scale production, using many extras and a long list of major guest stars. Sadly, Ward Bond died in 1960.
He was driving, but you have no right in the driver's seat.
Major Adams, this is not the wagon train. This is a stagecoach, and you know as well as I do the driver's in charge.
McCullough!
Mr. Adams, I hope it won't be necessary for me to put you off the coach.
Now, see Ward Bond and Robert Horton with guest appearances by some of Hollywood's greatest stars.
Mrs. Winston, don't you...
Major Adams, if you are going to tell us what a woman left with 7 children may have to go through, please spare yourself.
Sir Billy, you've never seen so many Indians alive. There was Indians to the right of us, to the left. There was all around us. Old Hawk sent me out there, and finally I just raised up my gun. Bang!
Actor Frank McGrath added his comic touches as a Wagon Train's irascible cook, Charlie Worcester, and stayed for the whole run of the show. In 1961, after the death of Ward Bond, John McIntyre came on board as a new wagon master, Christopher Hale. In 1962, Robert Horton left the show, but the Wagon Train just kept rolling along, moving west. Yaha!
Wagons! Ho! Come on! Come.
Have it easy. He had to scratch out a living on a small ranch near North Fork and also raise his young son, Mark, played by Johnny Crawford.
Cold steel.
For I am the judge, and this is my judgment. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a son for a son.
Hot lead.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
Cool nerves. Everything that makes television exciting is here in The Rifleman, starring Chuck Connors as Lucas McCain, whose lightning-fast draw, deadly accuracy, dauntless courage made him a legend to be feared. Yet he was a man to be loved, too, by an adoring son. The Rifleman, every week on ABC.
Jason McCord, Captain, United States Army.
Chuck Connors returned for his second series, Branded, which ran from 65 through 66. This time he was Jason McCord, a wrongly disgraced Army captain who was trying to prove his innocence.
Africa, the last frontier, where a cowboy is challenged by savage predators, hostile ranchers.
The next time you shoot an animal out of my loop, I'm coming hunting for you.
After wrapping things up out west, where could Connors go next? How about east? I mean real east, to Africa, for his unprecedented third series, Cowboy in Africa, which ran from 67 to 68.
Thursdays on NBC. Watch the free-swinging peace officers of Laredo.
Here come those Texas Rangers again. Laredo, which ran from 65 to 67, told stories of Texas Ranger Company B, just after the Civil War. The commanding officer was Captain Parmalee, played by Philip Carey. Other members of the troop were Neville Brand as Reese Bennett, Peter Brown, previously the deputy on Lawman, played Chad Cooper, and William Smith was Joe Riley.
Laredo, a colorful hour of excitement, Thursday.
Along with action, this show mixed in liberal doses of humor, as you could tell from this promo, narrated by Don Adams of Get Smart fame.
Laredo is headquarters for a team of rugged, troubleshooting Texas Rangers. Yes, they're tough, but their hearts are as big as all outdoors. And it's the big outdoors that serves as the setting for their unusual adventures. What makes this hour-long series a sure winner is that Laredo has the same number of syllables as Bonanza.
Make it a regular practice. Follow the family life of the Cartwrights and the exciting action of the Ponderosa. Compelling drama, capturing the rich flavor of a bygone historic era. The times were tense. The Cartwrights were caught up in the crossfire of an explosive era.
No other Western-dominated television like Bonanza, running from 59 through 73. The Cartwright clan, Ben, Lorne Green, Little Joe, Michael Landon, Haas, Dan Blocker, and Adam, Pernell Roberts, galloped atop the TV ratings. Pernell Roberts left the show in 1965, and Dan Blocker died in 1972. Most commercials are made for the viewers at home to see. But here's a rare look at a commercial made exclusively for the sponsor. It's a special film Chevy made for its dealers.
Millions of TV viewers every week will be exposed to Chevrolet commercials through such vehicles as the top-rated Western Bonanza on NBC.
Well, let me tell you once more.
When you were hired for the job, there was absolutely no mention of guns. Now, I know Jack, he has no intention...
You talked it over.
You talked it over. Jack, come on out here. There's something for you to settle. Boys.
Hello, Warren.
You know these fellas?
Oh, hi, Dan.
Hi, Jack. How are you, buddy?
Good. Nice to see you.
Same to you, sir.
Fidel, Mike, Jack, how are you? Fine. What's all the hardware for?
See? What'd I tell you?
Going bird hunting.
Yeah, we figured we'd get us a few falcons and T-birds.
We were going to go after those cardinals, too. We found out they were extinct. Well, thank you for the offer, but I think all the Chevrolet dealers around the country will be able to do the job again this year without violence.
From the first Chevrolet in 1911 to the newest marks a half-century of Chevrolet quality, and Chevrolet celebrates its golden anniversary by saying, "Thank you, America, for 50 years of confidence."
Drop into your Chevrolet dealers as soon as you can and take one of these new 1962 Chevrolets out for a ride. And when you do, I think you'll agree with me that this is a bonanza of beauty and value.
Daniel Bowie. There never was a man like him, and we'll never see his likes again. Daniel Bowie.
Fess Parker, who had gained fame wearing a coonskin hat as Davy Crockett during the 50s, returned to TV wearing the same hat, but this time playing another American folk hero, Daniel Boone, which ran from 64 through 70.
His name was Boone. Daniel Boone was he.
Joining Parker in the series were Patricia Blair as his wife, Albert Salmi as Yadkin, and Ed Tomahawk Ames as Mingo, Boone's Indian friend.
Daniel Boone. Indian fighter. Family man. Trailblazer. Come out of the pages of history. The frontier will come alive again when you hear the name Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone.
Don't forget to watch Hogan's Heroes Friday night.
Right after the Wild Wild West in color.
You better believe it.
Robert Conrad as Jim West, Ross Martin as Artemus Gordon, government agents in the days of the Wild Wild West. Go gunning for adventure, and you'll find it in
The Wild Wild West, which ran from 65 through 69. Robert Conrad was Secret Service agent James T. West, and Ross Martin played Artemus Gordon, his partner. Working undercover for President Grant, this duo used a combination of science fiction-type weapons and clever schemes to fight evil. The show, which was fashioned after the old-time movie serials, was also highlighted by an unusual array of villains that could have come right out of James Bond. One of the strangest westerns, but definitely one of the most amusing, was The Wild Wild West. During the 50s and 60s, many of TV's top Western stars made appearances at the annual Rose Bowl Parade in Pasadena. It was an opportunity for the public to see their favorite cowboy and cowgirl heroes up close and personal, as many of the stars would mingle with the crowd before the parade began. And it's also an opportunity for us to catch a rear glimpse of them in color.
Hopalong, a familiar figure at the yearly classic. Roy Rogers and Dale Evans add to the excitement and expectancy of the moment. Gail Davis, Annie Oakley. Sergeant Preston of the Yukon draws delighted comments from his fans. It's Guy Williams as Zorro. Richard Boone of the TV series Have Gun, Will Travel. And here's Hoppy himself, Bill Boyd, on his horse Hopper. Texas John Slaughter and the Swamp Fox of TV's Walt Disney presents today's champions, tomorrow's leaders, as Chevrolet calls attention to its familiar soapbox derby with the help of two of today's screen champions.
The star of TV's Wagon Train, Robert Horton, smiles hello. Now, it's only fitting and proper that the well-known stars of TV's Lawman should lead the float of the city of San Antonio, Texas. The stars of TV's Bonanza help set the mood for another ballad in blossoms about early California, as the city of San Gabriel offers Ramona.
Where there's a parade, there has to be screen star Leo Carrillo. Looming into view next, here's another idol of the youngsters, Duncan Ronaldo, the Cisco Kid. And here's popular Andy Devine with his Western sidekick, Guy Madison.
Sometimes his sidekick was as popular as a series leading man, and that was certainly the case with gravel-voiced Andy Devine, who played the lovable, funny, and overweight Jingles on the adventures of Wild Bill Hickok.
Sugar pops are tops.
Devine joined handsome actor Guy Madison, who played Wild Bill, and they both enjoyed a long ride from 1951 to 1958. The show was based on the legendary Pony Express rider, Indian scout, and marshal of Abilene, Kansas, Mr. James Butler Hickok.
And then you shout,
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pop.
A longtime sponsor of the program was Kellogg's Cereals. By the way, the young lad in the commercial is Mickey Dolenz, who went on to appear in Circus Boy and then became one of the Monkees.
Pops are sweeter, crisper too. They're shot with sugar, through and through.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pop.
Wild Bill never had to worry about being recognized. Jingles would always announce, "That's Wild Bill Hickok, the bravest, strongest, fightingest marshal in the West."
He sure is handsome, isn't he? Yeah, he looks real rugged, too.
Oh, shucks, you shouldn't say those things in front of me. It'll make me self-conscious.
Oh, gee, Annie, we were talking about Guy's picture.
Oh, Guy ain't so handsome.
What's that?
I said that... Oh, howdy, handsome.
Gee, Jimmy, we better pass these sugar corn pops before Andy really gets in trouble.
Now you're talking. Who cares what's on the box as long as you get what's in it?
That's right. Get a box of Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops, kids. Guy and I know you'll really go for them.
Many westerns had some humorous elements, but F Troop, which ran from 65 through 67, played it for laughs all the way. This western sitcom starred Forrest Tucker as Sergeant O'Rourke and Larry Storch as Corporal Agarn, who were supposed to defend Fort Courage, but actually spent more time scheming with the Hawkeye Indians, played by Fred DeCova, Don Diamond, and Edward Everett Horton. Oh, dear.
There's a snoop lieutenant coming out here from Washington, and we got to convince him we're having engine trouble, so how about attacking the fort?
Hawkeye's not mad at nobody.
Listen, Wild Eagle, either you're going to fight or you're going to go back to hunting and fishing.
And weaving your own blankets.
We fight.
Must do war dance first.
All right, so do war dance.
Not remember war dance.
No.
Hawkeye too peaceful.
How about the medicine man?
Somebody sick?
I'm Forrest Tucker. Every week, ABC presents F Troop. Each episode, another epic chapter in the winning of the American West. Like this?
Bullseye!
When asked to comment on this stirring series, noted historian Everett Hamilton Fleeby had this to say.
You've got to be putting me on.
Yahoo!
Careful now, you'll bend my saber.
You've got to be putting me on. Our tribe, very brave warriors, except for one thing.
What's that?
We faint a lot. You've got to be putting me on.
Along with me, you'll see Larry Storch, Ken Berry, Melody Patterson, and,
Who did that?
Don't miss F Troop, the original comedy of error.
Husband, harmful.
Every week on ABC.
Boy, I tell you, those F Troop guys, they were sure funny, weren't they? And on purpose, too. But, you know, there have been a lot of funny things that have happened on the set that the audience never gets to see. Those are the bloopers made by the Western stars while they're shooting their shows. Well, I made a blooper once. It was the last scene in the last Sugarfoot. I thought I'd go out in a blaze of glory and fan my gun. Never tried it before. Ouch! Blood all over the place. And there's the scar to prove it. Well, fortunately, a lot of these outtakes have been rescued from the cutting room floor. Let's take a look, shall we?
Mr. Favor, I never stepped out of line with you in my life. But sometimes there comes a time for everything. I'd like to do that line over again.
You are beautiful. And your faith is beautiful. But sometimes the essence of beauty is agility. Bugbear's not a good place to test it.
Are you afraid of a test?
Oh, shit. Cut. Pick up.
No, white man very smart about real estate. Remember when you first come here? This once entire Cowie territory. Then you make treaty, we divide land. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh.
Sergeant O'Rourke, Corporal Agarn reporting, sir.
Oh, at ease, man, at ease. I've called you in because I'd like to discuss this business of this image.
Are you all right,
You all
sir?
right, sir? Yes, I'm fine, I'm fine. I have to get that loose board fixed.
Oh.
I'll get Private Duffy on it this afternoon, sir.
Yes,
good.
you do that.
Thank you, thank you.
You were saying, sir?
Kenny. Just a little higher, Duffy. We want to make sure those horns are not at pants level.
I know what you mean, sir. Sergeant O'Rourke, Corporal Agarn reporting, sir.
Eddie, you can just put those down, Duffy.
Yes, sir.
Now, it has come to my attention that you men are not talking to each other. Now, what seems to be the problem?
Who'd tell you a thing like that, sir?
I told the captain.
You've got a loud bugle and a mouth to match.
You can't talk to me like that, Agar.
He can talk to you any way he wants to.
No, wait a minute, man.
The minute you hear something, you go running right to the captain.
Well, I just think it's stupid for two friends not to be talking.
Who are you calling stupid?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I may be stupid, but I'm smart enough never to talk to you again.
Yes, and that goes for me, too.
Now, gentlemen, listen, we can't have non-commissioned officers not talking to each other and not talking to the men under them.
Now, look, Agar, no soldier ever has a good enough reason not to talk to his buddies.
Captain Parmenter.
Yes, Corporal.
Would you tell Private Duffy that I just found a good reason never to speak to him again?
I'm still talking to you, Duffy.
Well, I ain't talking to no man who comes running to the captain over a little thing like this.
It's not such a little thing, either.
Oh, Wilton?
Oh, Sarge.
Oh, shit.
We will have discipline. We will have attention. Because that is the way we do things in Prussia.
I can't take it. I'm telling you, we got some real trouble. I wish I could remember what the hell the rest of the words are, too.
Yeah.
All right, O'Rourke, the key.
Oh, yes, the key. Agarn, the key. You've got, oh, yes, all right, here. There we are. Well, you got to take the padlock out before the bolt will slide.
Bullshit!
Good idea taking the shots.
Yeah, it's additional range. I figured it might come in handy.
Horses are saddled ready to go.
Good.
All right, now we're going to start out at daylight. That'll give you a 4-hour start and enough time to circle the flats and get across the plateau.
Fine, we'll be there.
Good.
Let's
See
go.
you.
bitch. That is a cut, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a cut.
Yeah.
That burn, you sure do smell good.
Sorry, I can't say the same about you.
Well, spending all day long a wagon load of hides, you can't... Shut.
Right.
Well, I can stand here forever, you know. Somebody's got to say a line.
I want to take a look at that arm.
You know, the Widow Cumberland.
Ah! I knew it. There you
Look,
go.
I said the Widow Cumberland.
Okay,
name
I
in
know
passing, that's all.
I know at least 9, including the lame, what the hell ever her name is. God damn it. What is that name?
Marcia, I ain't no informer.
I advise him to leave town. On the next plane. But he goes fishing, hunting, 3 or 4 days, comes in last night and back, and gets up and goes again this morning. And Joe, I got some coffee here. They're a hell of a way to run a railroad. Give me a little hand for you.
I'm gonna kill you right now.
You killed him. I need to draw his monkey wrench.
Well, Marshal, I want to thank you for all your help. Sure. And, by the way, them credentials I give you, I might have need of them. Oh, sure.
You already got him.
You better come along with me, Doc.
Cut and credit. Well, that's... You're doing fine there. I mean, am I?
Over that. See, I got a mouthful, too.
Hey, Jim, you forgot these. Well, folks, that's our show. I hope TV's Western heroes brought back some fond memories for you. Television may never again see the time when over 30 Western series were playing every week. But you know, the Old West will always be a source of inspiration for all of us. It's part of our national heritage. It's something that every American can be proud of because it represents the very best in us. Courage, honesty, integrity, industriousness, and a sense of humor. That's why we love these old Western heroes so much, because every week they brought these values right into our own homes. Oh, I'm glad I was part of it. I'm Will Hutchins. See you around the campfire.
See you Monday, same time. Now, everybody stand back away from your television area, said Sarah. Here comes Quaker puffed wheat. Ready, aim, fire!